views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hey everyone, I'm the Doc Bob Lee. Welcome. Another fantastic show as we take a look back. We throw our Motown foot out and slide it back and we'll have some fun, all right? This is Open BX RX and we got a lot in store for you. Coming up on today's show, well, we'll take a look back at how two young entrepreneurs helped our communities stay healthy and hydrated. Then we'll highlight the work of award-winning author, playwright, radio and TV personality who has provided visibility for the Black American musical landscape and whose foundation has provided opportunities for people in her community. Plus, we'll revisit the conversation with an immigrant who has overcome adversity in his journey to becoming an American citizen and highlight his book, which chronicles his long road to success. And then Bobby C is here. He has the highlights, most important moment of the world of sports for this year. And then finally, we'll look back at a nonprofit that has helped young adults bring urban farming to low-income communities. All of this and more headed your way. We're wide open. Let's hang out. Hey everyone, I'm your host, Dr. Bob Lee. You're watching Open, that live interactive program that brings the Bronx and New York City straight to your TV set. We've got a whole lot in store for you, so stay connected to us through social media at BronxNet TV. Now, leading things off, we'll take a moment to revisit conversations with two young entrepreneurs, Princeton and Brazil. Princeton and Brazil, we call them the Dowe twins. They highlighted the inspiration behind their water company, Water to Kids, and the importance of providing clean water for children and adults alike in our community. Check it out. Welcome, guys.
Thank you for having us.
Nice to meet you. Look great. I love those T-shirts. I love your background, and I love what you guys are doing. So tell us a little bit about how you guys got started. What got you into the water thing?
Well, it was basically when we were 7, turning 8. Me and Princeton were just sitting on the couch, and then I noticed that this girl, she just kept on drinking soda and juice, and then she changed and she started drinking water with fruit in it. And then I thought, we were in the car, and I was like, what can we do to help the Bronx? Because back then the Bronx was 62 out of 62, and it still is the most unhealthiest borough. So we were like, how can we help? So we came up with a water brand. Water the number 2 kids.
I love it. And how did you come up with that name?
Well, we just thought, what can we say? Water 2 kids. Since me and Prince are 2 kids and we want to help out, so we said water the number 2 kids with a little cute logo on it.
Yeah, and it has another implication too. Water to kids, like distributing water to other kids. Yeah, I like it. You guys are smart.
Thank you.
All right. So, mom and dad, of course, are helping you guys out.
Yes.
But you guys run the show.
Yes, we run the show on BronxNet, but we're basically like, we get all the information, we record it, and then my mom will edit it, and my dad will help, basically.
What kind of challenges did you run into during the pandemic? You know, this thing that just put the brakes on everything in our community, and we had to stay indoors and quarantine and do all these things. How has the pandemic played in the running of your business?
I mean, we're fine. Since we did homeschool, we know how it is, and we know how to work when we're at home. So we thought about it. We were like, kids aren't really learning online because, kids are online. They like school. They like in person better. So we thought about it. We were like, why don't we make an educational tool for kids to have fun and learn at the same time? So we created
look at that. Yeah. All right. That's fantastic. And now you guys have a show on BronxNet?
Yes.
How did that come about?
Well, it's an educational show where we give information to kids. We do feeling time to motivate them. like what's news, to tell them like that's what's news, like what's going on in the area.
Like stuff with technology, and then like spotlight where we spotlight other kids, and we do a bunch of things.
Yeah. And then what have kids, how long have you been doing it so far?
We haven't been doing it for that long. I think we've been doing it for like a few months, but we recently I think this is our we're just on Monday we're gonna put it up. I think the second time we're gonna put it up on BronxNet.
All right, so you guys are newbies on it, but that's great.
Yeah, it airs every
first
Monday of the month.
Okay, a lot of kids are learning a lot. What stands out in your mind? What's the best show so far that you've kicked out to the kids?
The first show.
The first show?
Yeah, the first show.
And what was that about?
The first show, we had every single segment we added, like I said, we did it. It was our first time, so we were so happy to do it. It was exciting. We just brought it out.
And what happens from here? What's going to be the next show?
The next show is going to be our third show. Well, the second, we have to put out the second show, which airs every first Monday of the month. And then after that, we're going to do a third show. We have to record it, have to look up stuff like that.
You get superstars on the radio and TV.
Yeah.
And you got merch. I like those T-shirts. And you got what's that booklet that you held up?
It's a trivia book. Think You're Smarter Than the Dow Twins. Learning to Trivia Activity Workbook.
And it comes with the flashcards too.
Yeah.
That's great. So one of the things inside, if you wanted to teach somebody something, what does it have as far as in the flashcard?
It has 6 subjects: science, social studies, language arts, technology, arts, and music.
And what's your favorite subject?
My favorite subject is science and music.
And yours?
I like science and art. I also like math. I like all of them actually.
So what are your biggest dreams? Where do you want to go from here? You got the Water the Kids, you got the TV show.
Well, we want our business to be a household brand. We want everybody to know, like even not only in the United States, we want people to know in like Australia and Russia. We want everybody to know, and we just want our business to be really big and out there.
Well, with the water, we don't sell the water bottles no more. Like we don't sell these water bottles no more, but we still, it's an educational tool that we spread through our platforms. But now we we're gonna start new things with the Water the Kids, so stay tuned for that.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. And we just created like Drink Your Water campaign challenge where we want kids and adults to be hydrated and drink their water and stay healthy.
How important is that to stay hydrated and drink your water?
It's important because you can have a longer life. You can stay alive longer and you can be healthy and hydrated.
Yeah. So I was sitting at a diner. I think I mentioned this one other time before, and couldn't help but listen to another group of people from another table, and they turned out to be doctors, because I found out they said, if only people would have just drink their water, they wouldn't have to come and see us. I said, they're doctors. That's so drink your water. Yeah, it will flush the body out, flush the kidneys out, and everything. It'll keep things moving. So that's a good campaign that you guys have, and I like everything that you guys are doing, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you guys on TV more.
Yeah.
And then you'll be making appearances in the community. I can see the whole thing.
Well, we actually like to help out the community. We give out food to the community. Like a few months ago, we cleaned the streets. We did a dog cleanup and stuff. Since we have a dog, and we just want to help people out there.
Yeah, because there's people in need that need stuff, so we just want to help them out.
I love what you guys are doing. So
Thank
you mentioned about platforms. What are some of the platforms we can find you guys on?
You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Dowe Twins, which is DOWE Twins. And where you can buy this workbook and flashcards is at www.dowtwins.com. Again, it's DOWE Twins.
Oh, that's good. Did we miss anything?
Nope.
You sure? You're gonna say, "Oh, I forgot to tell them anything that we should know about before we go?"
Well, actually, we have our own documentary. It's about children with unidentifiable disabilities, since we represent kids and we are the faces of children with unidentified disabilities.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Thank you guys so much. And God bless
Thanks
you
for
guys.
having us.
All
Thank you
right.
so much for having us.
We'll be following you, okay?
Okay.
Make sure you guys stay tuned for our show. It's on Monday, April 5th.
April 5th on BronxNet.
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. You
The
got the
first
channels
Monday
and
of the
everything.
month.
There you go.
It airs on 4:00. So.
Okay. Now we'll be looking forward to checking you guys out. All right. Thank you for your service. Thank you for all that you're doing for our youngsters in our community and for the adults too, because adults to drink water too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, and
All
happy April Fool's Day.
April Fools. We're not really here. Yes, we are. All right. Princeton and Brasil Dowe, entrepreneurs and co-founders of Water to Kids.
Yep.
Water to Kids. I love you guys and thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. All right. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. Princeton and Brasil Dowe, entrepreneurs.
Thank you so much for having us.
All right. And come back again, okay?
Okay.
You got to share everything that you're doing with us.
Yep.
All right. Hope you're enjoying it. We'll take a break right here and come back with more Open next. Welcome back. You know, this year we had the pleasure of sitting down and speaking with so many luminaries and leaders in the world of media, entertainment, and the arts. Ms. Vy Higginsen, the First Lady, a noted author, playwright, radio and TV personality, and the executive director of the Mama Foundation for the Arts, she was one of those prominent faces. She joined us this year to highlight the work that she has been doing with her organization to benefit her community. Check it out.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bob Lee. It's such a pleasure to be with you. Broadcast brothers and sisters. I love it.
Yeah, that's it. And just a little bit about yourself. We were talking about it earlier, of how you got started with the WBLS, WLIB, and how, you know, that start took place uptown in Harlem.
Yes, it did take place up on the classic corridor, which is Lenox Avenue, which is where of course the famous Sylvia's restaurant and many other restaurants have joined, like the Red Rooster and Corner Social, etc. But right in that building was WLIB AM. Yes, and that's on 126th Street and Lenox Avenue. And I lived on 126th Street between Lenox and 7th Avenue. So going to work over there was just a major feat and in walking distance.
A hop, skip, jump.
A hop, skip, and a jump, yes. Yeah. And it was a magic time in radio, Dr. Bob Lee. You know, they had the famous, you know, fast talking DJs like Eddie OJ and all the rest of the, you know, the A team on AM, and then FM came into being, and so did Frankie Crocker, and a whole new team and a whole new generation of radio, you know, was established. And I think the unique part of it, and I always give Frankie Crocker the credit for having the vision to realize that the door had to be open for women. And I was just happy to walk through that door under his tutelage. And everything I knew about radio came from Frankie Crocker.
There you go. Thus, the First Lady of WBLS Inner City Broadcasting, WLIB.
Yes, amazing. And then, you know, the station, the AM station was bought by the Sutton family and a whole host of investors. And the new FM station had to move, and it moved down to 801 2nd Avenue at 42nd Street. And that's where I think magic happened. It was a total Black experience and sound, a different shade of Black. gospel, a different shade of black, blues, a different shade of black. It was jazz and, all and Latin. And so you had a whole a spectrum of fabulous music coming from some of the greatest geniuses of all time. It was magical being in the studio and playing that music.
And you've come such a long way from radio. You do radio, TV, you've written plays, you produced them, and the great one, Mama, I Want to Sing.
Mama, I Want to Sing. And Mama, I Want to Sing is about 126th Street between Lenox and 7th. It's about my sister, my mother, my father. It's the story of music, but it's not only my story. It's the story of African-American music and its contribution to American music. And I think that's why it became the longest running Black off-Broadway theater musical in history. I think that was the important example of the power of music and the power of Black music in particular. So yes, WBLS and Mama, I Want to Sing, because there was a radio station on stage. So that radio station was telling the story of music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you traveled all over the world with this, right?
Yes, we traveled around the United States for 2.5 years, every major primary city and every secondary city. Yes, we were going out on tour for 2 weeks. We ended up for 2 years, 2.5 years. Then we went to Europe. This little show, The Engine That Could, coming straight out of Harlem, ended up in London, in Germany, in Switzerland, and it ended up in Yugoslavia, and Istanbul, and Greece, and everywhere that Mama went,
Yeah.
the audiences would respond the exact same way at the exact same time. That was magical as a writer to see audiences respond to the music. And then we went to Japan. We introduced the Japanese audiences to gospel music. Mama, I Want to Sing, straight out of Harlem. And now they have schools that have, hundreds of people learning gospel music, if you didn't know. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. And you were ordained an interfaith minister.
Yes, yes.
So right about
Bob, we were traveling to so many countries and meeting so many different people. I thought it was important to understand what other people believed in so that we could communicate more effectively. I wanted to know more about what we have in common as opposed to what was different about us. And so that's why I became an ordained minister, interfaith minister.
And now you can sit there and listen and respond to lots of different traditions, because there are many of them out there, and you're sitting in a position. So you started the foundation. Tell us about that.
I started the Mama Foundation because out of fear. The more Mama I Want to Sing ran, and we had to audition young people for the role, they were coming in and they couldn't even sing a whole gospel song all the way through. They didn't even know Precious Lord or Amazing Grace. And that was scary to me because I thought that we really need to save the music. We need to make sure that this music is on the menu. We don't put down anybody else's menu. Do what you want to do, but don't forget who you are, where you came from, and what contribution that Black American music has made to the world. And so that's why I said, no, we got to train these young people between 11 and 19 years old so that they can become ambassadors of the music, so they can have it on their menu. And that's what we do. We have enrollment and we receive grants so that we can give these young people this information. So the program then becomes free to the student and their family. And we're in an enrollment period right now, as a matter of fact. So we can bring young people in. We got people from the Bronx and Brooklyn and Queens and Pennsylvania and Connecticut. So you can come in and we will teach you breathing, harmony, pitch, and control. We will help you gain self-confidence and self-esteem and become better at your academics, because that's what music has the power to do. So yes, 87% of our kids go on to higher education. So we're excited that the Mama Foundation is giving back to the community and giving music to young people who really need it.
How do we enroll?
How do you do it? Yes, you can. You can enroll, go to our website, mamafoundation.org, and you can sign up right there. or you can call us directly at 212-280-1045. Yes, 212-280-1045. And classes begin in October, and we enroll at least 30 to 40 new students every year. So we do have some spots that are available, and we do have a grant, so there's no cost.
You know, I've been hosting at the summer stage in front of the Harlem State Office Building, and I always give like a little history of WBLS, Inner City Broadcasting Corporation, WLIB. And I always say, the First Lady lives right behind me here. And after I finished the show one day, and I was telling your daughter, Noelle, after I finished the show one day, I was sitting in my vehicle, just relaxing after hosting, and you came walking by, and I got ready to call you. Bye. But I didn't, because you looked like you were in such a hurry. And then told me that you was going across to go to the store. So I said, I'll call her later, no problem. But you're so
I always
very
have
much
time.
still, yeah, you're involved in so many communities. You mentioned all those communities across the United States and around the world, Japan and whatnot. But you're right here. You're in the five boroughs. You're in Harlem. And for Harlem Week, you're right there. For the Harlem Summer Stage, you're always there. You're engaged in our community still to this day, and that's important.
I love Harlem. I love New York. I love what we stand for, what we believe in. I love that this is the mecca of culture and entertainment, and I'm delighted just to be part of that. Yeah.
You know, you started on WBLS, WLIB. Here's the microphone. What did you say when you were on the air? Just a little opening, like a record was playing, Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Oh my goodness. I remember saying something like, the sun is at its highest point in the sky. It's 12 o'clock. And everybody's just a little crazy. Come on, enjoy. I remember saying, I know I would end the show that said something like, you lose some of the time what you go after, but you lose all the time what you don't go after. So go for it.
Vy Higginsen, yeah. Thank you so much. You're always welcome. Give us that website one more time.
mamafoundation.org and 212-280-1045.
There you go. mamafoundation.org. Vy Higginsen, Executive Director of Mama Foundation for the Arts. Thank you so much. Hope you're enjoying yourself. More coming up next on Open. Welcome back. Our next guest is Issa Musharbash. He joined us this past summer. He's a Jordanian-born author who chronicles his journey to becoming an American citizen in his book, Go Back to Your Country. He shared with us the difficulties he faced in coming to America and what he learned along the way. Let's take a look.
Dr. Bob, thank you so much for having me. I am doing so well.
Thank you so much. Now, you've come through a whole lot, but you defied all the odds. Tell us about some of the things that you've come through as a child.
When I got to the United States, I was 12 years old, Dr. Bob, and at that age, we lived in an attic apartment.
And you came here from?
We came from Jordan.
Jordan, yeah.
Jordan. And so we was my mother, my dad, and my other three siblings all into a two-bedroom attic apartment. At that age, I was the tallest sibling, and as a result, I was tasked with getting a job. And A 12-year-old boy who's tall enough could get away with getting a job at a sandwich shop.
Yeah.
So I got a job, and it taught me a lot working at a young age. I learned so much. Working did not mean I didn't have to go to school. I still had to go to school and then start work right after school and work weekends. And the boss that I had was tough. And I talk a little about that. Very, very tough. I think for a new kid in this country who's already experiencing rejection in all kinds and all forms, sees that yet again, even in his place of employment. But there was this one day, Dr. Bob, that I was asked to do a delivery. And this is on Newark Avenue in Jersey City, Newark Avenue and Kennedy Boulevard. Oh, yeah. And as a 12-year-old, I take this delivery. It's a cell phone store. I drop off their lunch. They give me $40 and say, keep the change. I put the $40 in my pocket. I start heading back to the store. As I'm walking back, I heard a swoosh of air from behind me, followed by a tremendous blow to the back of my neck. Whoa. At that point, I fell to the ground. I look up and I see a group of kids about 10 feet ahead of me, charging down. It looks like they clotheslined me from behind and they were ready to like finish me off. And I'm thinking, oh boy, they want that $40. Oh my God, they want that $40. And if I don't get this $40 to my boss, who's already tough to begin with, I'm in trouble. Either way, I need to get this $40 because I need this job. Yeah. So they charge, and I ran towards Kennedy Boulevard. I said, if I could just make it to the corner of Kennedy Boulevard and Newark Avenue, that corner, maybe my boss could see me, call the police, and I could live to fight another day. Unfortunately, Dr. Bob, I didn't make it to the corner. Right before the corner, I was knocked down, and that's when I was holding one hand on the money in my pocket, the other hand trying to shield my face, and the main assailant was wearing a mask, like the one Jason wore in the movie Friday the 13th.
Oh boy!
So it was frightening. Yeah. And three other kids were with him, and they must have been 15, 16 years old, and they were just punching and hitting and kicking everywhere they could, and I was just completely outnumbered. I thought that day I was just gonna die. And right there, before I was laid into unconsciousness, the gentleman stopped, and everybody stopped. The gentleman kneels down and whispers in my ear, or actually shouts in my ear, what sounds like a whisper until this day. Yeah. And he said, go back to your effing country. Whoa. And walked away. I was able to struggle into the door and make it back into the store. With a bloody smile, I tell my boss, here's your $40. Wow. Before you know it, I was in the hospital and the police were showing me pictures of suspects. All I remembered was the mask. And it turned out that it wasn't a robbery. They didn't even want the $40. They probably didn't even know I had $40. Yeah. It was just a kid that doesn't belong in this country. Let's teach him a lesson. And then tell him to go back to his country. So I had a choice, that was a pivotal moment in my life. I'm new to my new country. The pride swells in me every time I see that beautiful American flag. But yeah, at the same time. So that was a big motivation for you to go ahead and do the best you can to make it happen in this country, right? It was, and it was also confusing because this is my country. What do you mean when you say go back to your country? So
Yeah,
for a
yeah.
12-year-old to process that, it's very difficult, because you come in, you're thinking this is your country. You finally reach the land of your dreams. You make it here, and then you're told to go back. But no, we got here. We made it, you know? And so that go back to your country theme kind of stays with you for a while. And until you self-discover, until you realize who you are and what you're capable to do. And the opportunities in America are endless for those that could just get beyond the discrimination, get beyond the difficulty of assimilating into the country, the difficulty of fitting in, right? So I could have chosen to go back to my country, to abandon the values of this country, the opportunities in this country. But thank God I had my epiphany at 17. I was headed in the wrong direction. At the age of 16, I really rebelled. I gave my mom many nights where she got on her knees.
Well, that's what the adolescent stage is all about. You want to be an adult, but you're not there yet, you know. So,
and at 16 for me is finding, where do I belong? So I started to gravitate towards the gangster life. I started to gravitate to places where I felt accepted, and lived 18 months of darkness from 16 to about 17 and a half. That's when my mother was on her knees every night praying, one day, you know, the Lord will save this boy and bring him back to his senses.
Issa, what are you doing? Issa, what are you doing? Lord, please let Issa come back. Let him come back.
That was every night, because she had no clue what time I would get home. You know, she's waiting, 9 o'clock, 9:30, 10, 10:30, 11, anxious. There's no way they would get a hold of me.
So
Praying
what
that I
broke
would
you out
come
of that?
home alive.
What broke you out of that?
Actually, it was, I didn't realize it at the time, but every time she prayed, God was listening.
God was listening. That's right.
And so the question is, for every mother with a child like me, can you hold on long enough? Can you hold on to your prayers long enough? Can you be patient enough? And in your trusting that there will be a positive outcome.
A light at the end of the tunnel.
And the light at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah.
And she held on. And I had my breakthrough in a very random place. I was serving ice cream at Baskin Robbins, Dunkin' Donuts in Jersey City. I was 17 and a half at the time. A whole bunch of girls walk in, invite me to go to their youth group. And I'm like, whoa, this is great. I bring my friends, we go to a youth group. And in the youth group there, I learned that I'm accepted there too. Although my experience with youth groups and churches have been negative in the past, I wasn't accepted because of the way I dressed, the way I spoke. This time it was different. And it was a small little church in Jersey City that was just loving on that little gangster boy that worked across the street in Dunkin' Donuts. And they weren't afraid of me. They gave me a hug. They welcomed me. And I found community in the house of God. And my life took a 180-degree turn.
Community and communion. And now you have the book. And you didn't write the book about business or anything. What did you write the book about?
No, my biggest.
Because you're a very successful businessman.
I thank you for sharing that. I mean, my friends have been after me about writing a business book. Like, Issa, you're a successful entrepreneur. You have multi-million-dollar businesses that we've seen you get there. Can you write about that? And I said, I will one day write about this when the timing is right. But first, I gotta tell you how I got here.
But Jason was in your ear with that mask. He looked like Jason, right?
Jason, yep. You're not good enough. Who are you to write a book? You don't belong in this country. You shouldn't even be in. All the doubts start to come in. But by the grace of God, I wanted to tell that story first before I go out and start writing 100 business books. It turns out that this book has so many business principles you could extract from. But I just wanted to tell the story, how we got to the US. I tell my mother's story in the opening of the book. The first quarter of the book is really how she got to where she is, why she wanted to come to the US, her journey to come to the US, and then it takes off into how I developed and became who I am today.
Well, if you can go back in time, how would you conduct yourself differently?
Yeah, if I had known what I knew then, I would just take advantage of the opportunities in this country at a young age. I would be a top student, in 7th grade, 8th grade, all through high school, rather than just waste that precious time. You would have
fixed that adolescent stage, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. But I don't live with regrets, because we could turn our lives around at any stage of our lives. We have the power to turn around, Dr. Bob.
Exactly. Where can we get your book? Because they're going to give me a hard rap right about now.
Sure. Go back to yourcountry.com. Very simple. Go back to yourcountry.com. You'll learn about the book and everywhere it's sold.
There you go. Issa Musharbash, thank you so much. He's an author, and this is his country. Welcome to America. And maybe we'll go back to visit Jordan. We would love to go there, right?
Yes, absolutely. I went there in 2019. I went there in 2012, and hopefully next year we'll take a trip there as a family.
Bring the whole crew right here from BronxNet. All right. We'll go.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
All right. Thank you. We'll take a quick break right here, but coming up next, you don't want to miss it. Bobby C will highlight the most impactful moments in the world of sports. Stay tuned.
Well, 2021 has come and gone. In the world of sports, the fans came back even if their cash was no good at arenas and stadiums. Their credit cards and payment apps certainly were welcomed. Economically, fans drive the sports, of course. The COVID-19 pandemic altered 2021, but for the most part, things looked more like they did in 2019 than they did in 2020. We have a baseline for a new normal, for now at least. 2021, a year in which sports came back from the total shutdown the virus triggered in 2020, but not quite in the way that we remembered it, of course. As we did last year on the show, we wanted to tell the story of the sports year through a series of our interviews with some of the biggest names in the game. We begin with New York Giants football great Tiki Barber. The legendary running back chatted with us in time for last year's Super Bowl.
You had some NFL career yourself, the all-time leading rusher for Big Blue. What is your proudest moment as a Giant?
The one that sticks out most is a 2005 game against the Washington Redskins at the time. We're obviously now the Washington football team, but we played the Redskins the week after Wellington Mara passed away. And it was just this unbelievable sight. The stands were full and packed, and Kate Mara sang the national anthem, his granddaughter. And I had one of my best games of my career. I rushed for 206 yards in that game, and I was able to score a touchdown. And at the end, I gave it to one of his grandsons, Timmy McDonald, who's still with the organization, and told him, this is for you and your grandparents and your family, and thank you for making me a Giant. And I'll never forget that moment, because I don't know how you honor a man like Wellington Mara, who meant so much for the Giants, but also for the league from its inception. And to have that game on that day for me and my teammates, it's one I'll never forget.
And three-time Pro Bowler, and of course, New York Giants Ring of Honor member as well, and passing some big names during your career, whether it was Joe Morris or Rodney Hampton.
Yeah.
Career here in New York.
Yeah, so, Hamp was there when I got there. I remember Hamp. Hamp was my first year. He was there. he used to, because we practiced right at the Meadowlands, which was right on the Hudson, and it overlooked New York City. He used to pull me to his side, like, Teak, don't end up over there, because back in his day, they used to party over there all the time. I actually ended up living in the city, so I didn't take his advice too heavily.
As the baseball season got underway and spring increased our optimism around the country, we spoke with 1969 Mets World Series champion Ron Swoboda. Wanted to talk a little bit about that 1969 season for you. I know you batted .400 in that 69 World Series, but you once wrote in a New York Daily News guest column, "I'm kidded occasionally by folks who wonder, how long are you going to keep living off of one catch? My answer, how long have I got left?" I know it's a memorable World Series moment. I'm sure you don't mind being remembered most for it.
When you played 9 years in the big leagues and you had some good days and some really bad days, it's nice that you're remembered for the best thing that ever happened to you as a player in a World Series.
Yeah, I think it's amazing too how quickly time flies, Ron. I say it all the time. We just celebrated the 50th anniversary of that 69 World Series in 2019, and now, of course, we're in 2021. You released a memoir that's entitled "Here's the Catch," a memoir of the Miracle Mets and more in 2019. What was it like going down memory lane and writing this book, and then also celebrating that very special season with your teammates 50 years later?
Yeah, I think if I had anything that I was trying to say, sort of subtopic, it was that I'm just a kid that loved baseball coming out of a little town in Sparrows Point, Baltimore County. That the whole process of the game captured me and allowed me to develop it to a point where I could play in the big leagues. I didn't think I brought anything special other than the love for the game and the willingness to work at it. And I felt like as an outfielder, I made all the mistakes you could make in the big leagues, playing in those big high stadiums that were, a little tougher to see the ball and pick it up off the bat. And Shea Stadium was a very difficult stadium in that regard because it stood 3 tiers high. And the ball never came out of the stands for the most part. And if you're not used to that, as lighting changes and the seasons change, it's hard. People that came into Shea Stadium who had not played in that high background had trouble. And I certainly had my share of it, but I worked at it. Eddie Yost hit me thousands of fungos, our third base coach. And I think between him coming out there every day and my desire, I turned into a little better outfielder than maybe conventional wisdom would have judged me.
The hope is that these times have really helped us have better perspective on the value of life. Baseball great Dave Parker is struggling with Parkinson's, and he joined Open to discuss that battle and encourage others to make the most of their time. I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about the Dave Parker 39 Foundation, an organization that's focused on finding a cure for Parkinson's disease.
Well, I have a foundation called the 39 Foundation, and I got involved with Parkinson's organization about 7 years ago. And I've been doing fundraisers, golf tournaments. We raised $48,000 in October for a golf tournament. And we want to emphasize research with the dollars that we raise. And hopefully we get lucky and find a cure or something to ease the pain of Parkinson, because you never know what you're going to get. You wake up one morning and you feel perfectly normal, and you come back and wake up the next day and your legs ain't working right, and you're trembling. You got various things, just like I froze then. But this is the kind of stuff you got to deal with Parkinson's.
I'm so sorry to hear that, Dave. Obviously, I hope that with the continued effort of your organization, that be able to get more people to donate and to be on board with trying to help the cause and to help those that are struggling with Parkinson's.
Well, I hope so too. But in the meantime, we're going to continue to march on and try to find a cure for this thing.
And the book is great, with comments at the start of each chapter from other baseball legends, including former Yankees Dave Winfield and Willie Randolph. Dave Parker tells an epic tale of friendship, success, failure, and redemption in his new book. Cobra is an unforgettable story of $1 million athlete just before baseball became a $1 billion game. Pick it up, available at all major retailers. Thank you so much, Dave, for stopping by the show. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, and that was a great interview.
We sat down with Dave Parker in May. Parker is so very deserving of the Baseball Hall of Fame. I do so hope he gets the nod while he is still here with us. Yankee great Ron Blomberg stopped by the show in June to discuss his former teammate Thurman Munson, the Yankee captain, and says he too deserves a place in Cooperstown. But at least we have some good things to talk about, and one of them, of course, is your second book. I'm really excited to talk about your second book, The Captain and Me, on and off the field with Thurman Munson. I know that you believe stats don't tell the whole story when it comes to the captain, and you've gone so far to say, Ron, that this isn't a baseball book, but it's a book about a great person. Tell us more about it.
For the last 4 or 5 years, I've been seeing Thurman's vote total for the Hall of Fame keep on going down and down and down. And I'm saying to myself, this is ridiculous. This guy was our team captain, number one. Number two, he was such a leader on and off the field. And he was such a wonderful human being to his family and to me and to all his teammates. And I'm looking at all the guys that actually getting in, from Ted Simmons to Johnny Bench to Carlton Fisk. And I'm not taking anything away from them. But you cannot find a better catcher that did so much with a team and became a captain in the biggest city in sports, New York City. But when he was on that baseball field, when he put that Yankee pinstripes on, he was all business. And, but when he was behind that plate, he was the best of the best. There's a lot of great things that I'm going to be doing with this book. And I want people to know what type he was. Also, on the field, he was a captain, and off the field, how great a person he was.
That's part one of our 2021 year in review. Next time, we'll feature 4 more interviews right here on Open. Happy New Year from Yours in Sports. I'm Bobby C.
Welcome back. Our last notable guest of the year was Tonya Gayle, Executive Director of Green City Force, an AmeriCorps program that prepares young adults who reside in NYCHA, New York City Housing Authority, with training and skills building experiences related to sustainable living. Let's take a look. Now, when you speak about the NYCHA, what area are you in right now?
I am physically in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, but NYCHA is all across the 5 boroughs in New York City. So
yes,
NYCHA is everywhere.
I know. I grew up in the neighborhood over there by Queensbridge awesome. Housing, NYCHA.
The largest public housing in the world, Queensbridge. Amazing
exactly.
Space.
Yes, it is. So tell us about the wonderful work that you're doing within this space.
Well, Green City Force is a very, very intentional organization. We are prioritizing young adults who come from public housing across New York City. And we bring young folks into our program, which is an AmeriCorps program. And they serve their national service while they're with us. And they're building their workforce skills around the green economy, sustainability, urban agriculture, solar, recycling, composting. And these young people come to our program and we teach them about these opportunities, and then they go back into their NYCHA communities as leaders and messengers and really help other residents understand how to make their communities a more vibrant, healthier more sustainable spaces. And then from that experience, we connect them with employment and career pathways so that they can become leaders and get paid to have jobs and career paths in this really important work.
There you go. Tonya, how long has this been going on?
So we started in 2009, and we've been full speed ahead since then. We've got over 600 graduates, have about 100 members a year, and we're hitting all kinds of communities. I'm actually trying to get us a farm out in Queensbridge at some point in the near future.
Wait, a farm in Queensbridge?
I know it sounds crazy, but we have, for the last few years, built and managed 6 large-scale urban farms in NYCHA developments. We don't have one in Queens yet, but we're coming. We've got one up in the Bronx in Morrisania. We've got 2 in Brooklyn right now. We built the one in Red Hook that's now managed by other folks, but we've grown and produced over 100,000 pounds of food. That's fresh produce for the residents. Our young people are the drive, they're the farmers, they're the designers and managers of these spaces. And the community comes out, we bring kids, teach them about where tomatoes come from, not from the grocery store, but actually from the soil. And it's a really amazing thing. And it's happening right in public housing communities where the people who live there are creating that awesome experience. So we're really excited about that work.
Keeping it green. I know who you can speak to in Queensbridge also.
Awesome. All right, hook me up.
We will. So tell us about Green City Force. What are some of the other things, some of the other programs that you have that make it all work?
So we have a lot of really amazing things because we really count on the young people who are in our program as people who live in these low-income communities to be our kind of thought partners, like understand, okay, what does the community need to be more sustainable? What is helpful? People need jobs, people need experience, but like the young people who are in our program literally knock on doors, they knock on their neighbors' doors and they say, can we talk to you about reducing your energy use? Can we talk to you about reducing your water use, and help residents understand why these things ultimately will be cost savings for NYCHA, which will be intended to go back into making the quality of the housing better, right? Because we all know there are challenges around the public housing. So it's really about changing the myths and negative stereotypes of young adults who come from low-income communities and really showing that they have this amazing talent and skill and passion to drive change. And then just straight up employment, right? Like, so career paths and having them as leaders. They're on rooftops doing solar installations. They're doing recycling programs. This amazing young man named Domingo Morales, who is creating a whole movement in low-income communities around composting and recycling. And so it's really fantastic. And the young people who graduate from our programs become the leaders in the physical farm sites. They are the managers. And so other young people see them as role models and say, how can I get that job? How can I get that experience? So it's really about a movement of systems change. It's really about showing the talent and potential and need for young Black and brown folks to be driving stuff that is typically not connected to people of color. People don't necessarily think of young community of colors when they think of sustainability. But we're absolutely critical because environmental injustice hits hardest in low income and Black and BIPOC communities. So it's more important than ever that the leaders and the people solving those problems are coming from those actual neighborhoods.
Yeah, when I was living in Queensbridge, you would probably knock on my door and say, can you please turn down the sound system? I was using a lot of energy, the electricity.
Yeah. Well,
but
we'd
it
rather
helped
have
me
you come
become the
outside.
person I am today.
No, absolutely. And that's we have Harvest Fest in the fall. It's like, come out, bring your family and come down to the farm and like have a pumpkin patch in the courtyard and bring your folks and have a DJ out there and share the community experience.
Now, if you was knocking on everybody's door and you was telling them about compost, how would you tell them to save? Would you tell them to save their garbage or put that in a different bag and bring it down to a certain place?
So we've done it a lot of different ways. So the places where we have the farms, we ask the residents to come bring us their non-meat scraps like coffee grinds, banana peels, exactly, eggshells. We ask them to come and bring those in a bag or container and exchange it for food for harvest, right? We don't ask any resident to pay for food. We ask for them to contribute by giving us composting, which we then can repurpose and then have it go back into the soil, right? Sometimes we ask folks to volunteer. So we ask people to recycle by distributing their different you know, whether it's metal or plastic or what have you, and we educate folks about how to do that in different roles we've had, the containers themselves. And it's really about an education and invitation for folks to change the way they address waste. And so we do it in a lot of different ways, but yeah.
Who are the people or organizations responsible or essential for this holistic approach?
Well, it's a combination, right? So it starts with the community, which means we will go to a particular NYCHA neighborhood and we'll say, okay, we've spoken to the resident leadership of that community. We want to understand who are the key stakeholders, whether they're community members, nonprofit organizations. We, of course, work very closely with NYCHA. And then ideally, we want to recruit as many people as possible who are young people from those communities. So all you folks out at Queensbridge, all you folks out at, you know, Morrisania, all of our sites across NYCHA, if you're 18 to 24 and you want to be in this opportunity, then you're the creators of like the vision of what's needed in your community. And we want to bring you on to be part of our team. So we do a whole landscape assessment of like, who are the people in the community? We have meetings, we have conversations, we do surveys, we ask questions, and then we present the opportunity of like what we've done before and what we want to offer, whether it's a farm, whether it's education, whether it's hiring young people to be paid to be in our program while they get trained for workforce. So it's a mixture. We are very collaborative. We work with all kinds of organizations and individuals.
And what about funding?
Funding's always fun. So we have a mixture. We have a mixture of funding sources because we're an AmeriCorps program. Some of our funding comes from the federal government. We've been very fortunate in the past to have certain city council members support our work in particular regions. We have a major partnership with the Mayor's Office of Criminal Justice where they support our work in particular targeted neighborhoods. We have private funding. Individuals help support our work. There's a state organization called NYCHA, which is focused on energy. And because so much of our work is tied to energy education, that's a source of funding for us as well. And then we have contracts fee for service. So we really have a range of different ways we try to get support for the program and the young people.
Yeah. Tonya, how can we find out more?
Well, you can go to our Instagram, you can go to our website, greencityforce.org. You could come out to our sites, Bayview houses, Howard houses, Morrisania Forest houses in Staten Island. We're at Meredith Harbor, Wagner houses. Come see us, check us out online, follow us on Instagram, and come volunteer or come sign up, come be a Corps member. Love to have you.
Tonya, we love you. Thank you. Executive Director, Green City Force.
Thanks so much.
Director. Yeah, you're welcome. Tonya Gayle. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Dr. Bob.
Here we go. Unfortunately, that's all the time we have for today's show. I want to thank you, our guests, for joining us and our viewers for tuning in and checking it all out. Keep following us on BronxNet TV for continued coverage. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Always remember this: what you are is God's gift to you, and what you make of yourself is your gift to God. So choose your choice and let your choice control the chooser. Have a happy holiday and a prosperous one too. And we'll see you on the other side of the clock, on the other side of the day, like another day, another way type of thing. You know, I'm the Dr. Bob Lee. I love you all. Peace.